The scene opens with Superman's parents securing him gently inside a rocket. Their planet is dying, and they have to save their only son. Launching into space, the rocket leaves behind his parents. In a matter of seconds, the star turns to dust. This is Superman's origin story. Superman marries a woman named Lois Lane and now has a son named Jonathan. Jonathan is unaware of his father's true identity and thinks he is a mere reporter. Jonathan sighs as he reads the news and wishes that his parents had normal jobs. He thinks that his parents are the most boring couple, and there is nothing interesting about them. Only if he knew the real truth. Lois leaves hurriedly and warns Jonathan to not look for his birthday present, but he does exactly that. He almost has the gift opened when his dad calls him. Clark Kent, also known as Superman, has returned from his job. Quickly tidying up the room, Jonathan pretends he was never there and runs downstairs to his father. He is happy to see him and instantly hugs him. Both of them spend quality time together by doing chores around the barn and playing games. Once everything is done, they lie under the clear sky. Jonathan complains that his father is never here, so he misses him as he is always away. His father ensures that he will understand him one day. Clark notices something falling down from the sky. It looks like a shooting star, but something else. He is quickly alerted and tells Jonathan to wash up while he goes to inspect it. It's a Watchtower, and before it can reach Earth, Superman manages to stop it. He saves Green Arrow, who is inside. But as soon as Superman leaves, something else that had entered the ship attacks him. The next day, at the baseball game, Jonathan sees that his father isn't in the audience. He gets out without scoring anything and leaves the field disappointed. His mother tries to cheer him up, but nothing seems to work. Clark returns and Lois suggests that maybe it's time for Jonathan to learn about his father's true identity. Clark goes up to Jonathan's room to talk with him, but as he enters, he sees Jonathan has gotten out through the window and is running away. He runs through the fields in anger, when suddenly a laser beam is emitted from his eyes, causing an explosion. Jonathan, scared of himself, hides in the barn. He thinks that something might be wrong with him, but his father surprises him. Clark reveals to Jonathan that he is Superman as he floats in the air in his costume. Jonathan excitedly runs around the house, but Lois is worried for him. He showed no signs of having any superpowers, and they had always thought that he was normal. However, Clark is hopeful that Jonathan only inherited heat vision from him. He takes Jonathan for a ride, and thrill overtakes Jonathan as he sees the world from above the clouds. Suddenly, a foul smell hits their nose, and Clark reveals that they are in Gotham City. There, they see Batman brutally fight his opponent. He hands him over to the police with little to no effort. Jonathan has always dreamed of this day, and it's finally here. He is finally meeting his idol. Batman takes him to his Bat Cave where he meets Damian for the first time. Damian is Batman's son, and just like his father, he is cold and weary of new people. Batman assures Damian that they mean no harm, and instructs Damian to set up Jonathan in a meta-analyzer. After examining him, Batman tells Clark that he cannot detect any other superpower, but maybe if he is confronted with another traumatic experience, his powers may resurface. Damian is eavesdropping on their conversation and decides to test this theory by pushing Jonathan off the edge. As Jonathan falls down, Clark gets into action and grabs him before he can hit the ground. Batman scolds Damian for what he did and asks him to get out. Superman sympathizes with Damian as he knows what he has gone through in his life and forgives him. However, Jonathan cannot believe that his father wouldn't hold Damian accountable for what he did to him. He leaves when Superman asks him to give him and Batman 2 minutes alone. Superman asks Batman if Green Arrow has contacted him, but is surprised to find out that Green Arrow is still out of touch. As they are having this conversation, Jonathan wanders off and explores the Bat Cave where he sees Damian. Damian is being told by Wonder Girl that he isn't welcomed in Teen Titans as he is too violent. Jonathan feels bad for him and tries to start a conversation, but he is startled by a cow coming out of the shadows. Jonathan offers to milk the cow, but Damian warns him to stay away from him and his cow. Batman and Superman talk with Green Arrow through lib transmission, but both of them notice something is off. Superman drops Jonathan, who sleeps as soon as he hits the bed, back home. Lois informs Superman that in some areas of America the crime rate has dropped to 0. It's more than a coincidence. Superman and Batman go to the Watchtower to investigate but become worried when they notice the unsettling silence. Superman uses his X-ray vision. As soon as he does, he hurriedly tells Batman to leave, but it's too late. A man comes up behind them, and a starfish-looking thing comes out of his mouth and attacks them. The next day, Jonathan wears the Superman suit and glasses to school when some bullies start hassling him. They rile him up to a point that he punches one of the bullies, who falls face first to the ground. Jonathan discovers he also has one other ability, super strength. Back at the Batcave, Damian is still brooding about what Teen Titans did to him when Batman comes up behind him. The same starfish-looking alien creeps out of Batman's arm, but Damian has quick reflexes. He turns around and kills it almost immediately. Batman looks lifeless as his body begins to shake, and another starfish with one eye comes out of his mouth and covers half of his face. Damian watches in horror as Batman seems to not even recognize his own son. He attacks Damian, who tries to defend himself but fails and is thrown off the edge. Superman, who is also infected, informs Batman that all the members of the Justice League have been infected. Now, nothing stands in their way. Batman leaves, and it turns out that Damian has survived the fall with the help of a bat rope. The principal is busy scolding Jonathan for beating up the bully. Unexpectedly, Jonathan sees a Batmobile landing on the playground. He quickly promises to never do it again and leaves the office as soon as possible. Jonathan is surprised to see Damian and asks him what he is doing here. Damian explains that their fathers have been infected and they need to save them. Just at that moment, Jonathan's mom comes out of the shadows and sweetly asks Jonathan to leave with her. He is about to go when Damian stops him and asks him to test her first. She fails the test, and it becomes apparent that she too has been infected. They run as she menacingly chases them. Jonathan and Damian manage to get inside the Batmobile, but Lois has attached herself to it. As they fly in the air, she tries everything to get inside. She almost succeeds, but Jonathan uses his laser eyes and kills the organism attached to her face. She falls into the pond while they fly away. They don't know where to go for help, so Damian takes him to the only place that comes to his mind. It's a place hidden far away in the mountains. The only way to open the doors is by using a key that can only be lifted with super strength. Jonathan successfully throws the key in the keyhole, and the doors open. As soon as they step inside, they are attacked by the superdog, Crypto. Jonathan and Damian tried everything, even throwing grenades at him, but nothing seems to work as he survives every attack. Both of them fall through a wall, and as they stand up, they are surprised to see two enormous statues standing right in front of them. Crypto again tries to attack them again, but this time, a voice stops him, and an artificial embodiment of Jonathan's grandfather appears. He informs Crypto that Jonathan is Superman's son, and the dog goes from attacking him to showering Jonathan with kisses and licks. Damian gives the artificial embodiment of Jonathan's grandfather a sample of the organism he collected, and he tells him it is a spore from the alien known as Stero. It's like a hive mind that controls all the spores, and their plan is to take control of the population of any planet they are deposited on. Damian and Jonathan rationalize that it all started when their fathers went to space, so it can only mean one thing. The hive mind is up there, and they have to go there to defeat it. Lois goes to her office and gets hold of her coworker Jimmy. The parasite left her, but she is suspicious of everyone around her. She first inspects Jimmy and makes sure that he isn't affected. Then, she tells him everything. They must find a way to broadcast the warning to everyone. Jimmy mentions that only a president can do it. That's it. That's how they are going to warn everyone. Jonathan and Damian have to go to space, and the only thing available to take them there is the same small rocket Superman came in when he was just a baby. They hardly fit inside, but nevertheless, make it work. They bid their farewell to Crypto and Jonathan's grandfather and are off to space. Once they enter the Watchtower, the infected Justice League members immediately confront them. Lois goes to the president asking for his help. Despite their differences in the past, the president agrees to help her if she publishes an article apologizing for everything she had said about him in the past. Reluctantly, she agrees, and they have a deal. Back at the Watchtower, Damian and Jonathan have been made prisoners. Storo appears before them and tells them that he plans to not only take over their planet, but also others around it. Storo thinks that he is helping humans by taking away their free will. This angers Damian, who tries to attack him, but he is tackled by the infected heroes. Storo orders the Justice League to eliminate them and leaves. Green Arrow takes aim and shoots an arrow toward Damian, but Jonathan gets in between and is hit instead. Damian sits by his side and starts confessing that he only started liking him now. Jonathan surprises him when he sits up straight, and they both laugh. Looks like he is finally arrow-proof. They aren't scared of anything anymore and fight the heroes with bravery. The president does the live transmission, but midway, it is revealed that he is in fact infected by the parasite. Lois comes up from behind and uses the flames from her lighter to burn the spore on his face. Jonathan is also seeing this on the monitor in the Watchtower. Before the transmission is cut, Lois manages to tell Jonathan that he can eliminate spores using his laser eyes. They defeat all the other Justice League members but are helpless when it comes to their fathers. Nothing seems to work against them. Jonathan helps Damian in tackling Batman, while he steals the power ring from him. Damian wears it and fights with Superman, while Jonathan struggles against Batman. Both of them seem to be losing their wars, but in the end, by using their powers and abilities, they manage to defeat them. Now the only way to vanquish the hive mind is if they burn the Watchtower. They get all the Justice League members into rockets and send them off to the Earth, while both of them stay behind. Being a hero is all about sacrifices, and Jonathan finally understands this. They are in the control room where they are about to execute their plan, but Starro attacks them. Jonathan falls but quickly grabs the edge with one hand while the other holds onto Damian, whose leg is clasped by one of the Starro tentacles. Damian instructs Jonathan to use a laser beam on it, and he follows through. Suddenly the fire erupts in the Watchtower as it approaches the Earth at high speed. Jonathan and Damian run to safety. Starro sees his end right before his one eye as the flames completely engulf him. Back on Earth, every human being is free from the spores, and the connection between the hive mind is lost. Damian and Jonathan sit peacefully as they reminisce about how they never thought this would be their end. Suddenly, the satellite comes to a halt, and Jonathan is surprised to see his father, who is holding it in its place. As soon as they land, Jonathan runs up to Superman and hugs him warmly. Damian reluctantly walks up to Batman, who surprisingly takes him into a warm embrace. Although shocked at first, Damian soon eases into it. The Teen Titans inform Damian that they have taken another vote and want him to join, but Damian has other pressing matters to attend to. He, along with Batman, goes to see Jonathan's baseball game. This time around, Jonathan doesn't miss the ball and it's a home run. Sitting on top of a tank, Damian pushes Jonathan off of it as a birthday present, and when Jonathan hits the Earth, Damian concludes that he still cannot fly.